Hi, my name is Charlie McGrath, founder of Wide Awake News, and I want to give a quick thank you to Jeff Rense for continuing to post my commentary. Now that I'm out of semi-retirement, I want to thank you very much because most of you probably found this channel and started watching my commentary videos because of Jeff Rense, and I encourage everybody to get over to his website, check it out, and support him how you can. I, however, am not looking for any support. I'm looking for common sense. I'm looking for my fellow Americans to realize where we're at, and it's almost to the point where trying to convince somebody. I don't want to say it's a waste of time, because it's something that I've worked so hard to try to do in a way that isn't automatically disarming or automatically putting off the individual that I'm talking to. But look, it's time to understand, what is going on in our country and where we're heading and the direction we're heading, and try to understand what's it going to look like when we get there. What are we going to do about it? I want to talk a little bit tonight about the debates. The Democratic debate was tonight in Las Vegas, and you know what? Here's the deal. My personal opinion is Bernie Sanders is 100% the winner, hands down, and he's right on most of the things that he has to say. Now, a few years ago, that sentiment wouldn't have been a shock to anybody in independent media. It would have been a shock to anybody, that was a free thinker at all. However, I find myself defending this position even in independent media, even amongst those that we consider to be awake and know what's going on. Bernie Sanders stood up to Wall Street in 2008. He stood up to the notion that we needed to invade Iraq because of weapons of mass destruction. He's been on the right side of many, many issues that involve our destiny as a nation and our personal individual freedoms. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, "Oh, he's a communist, he's a socialist." You know what? I don't care what he is, because this is still the United States. He can hold any ideology he wants to. I'm going to judge him as he wants to be judged for the actions that he has taken, and his actions speak volumes for what he stands for. He might want to grab every gun in this country. He might want to turn this into the people's paradise. Good for him. Fortunately, we still have some vestige of this, which is our Constitution. But when he comes before that camera and he tells the American people that the number one problem we have, he's the only one, Republican or Democrat, that had the courage to tell the truth, the number one problem our nation faces is influenced by special interest, money. Now, for those of you that might have the a notion that the number one threat we face are people who want to grab your guns, no, it's not. The number one threat that we have to face is companies that want to continue exploring and exploiting fossil fuels. No, it's not. You need to understand everything is controlled by finance. That's it. That's the top of the pyramid. That is the capstone. That is where we need to look if we want to change anything in this country. There's not a drop of blood that is being shed around this planet that isn't being shed by direct relation to the financial masters that are running our government. Arab Spring wouldn't have existed without the 2008 collapse, wouldn't have existed without forced poverty onto the people of the Middle East. That is a creation of finance. The global credit crisis, creation of finance. The problems that we're seeing right now going on in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, North Africa, pick your poison, a production put on for us by finance. And their ultimate goal has been stated time and time again. It is global financial governance, because what a lot of us fail to realize is that is the ultimate power. That is the ultimate driving force behind Big Pharma, behind the military-industrial complex, behind big oil, behind corporate special interests. It's always the money men who have dominated our government and our form of government and polluted our republic. Bernie Sanders comes out and tells it like it is. What does that mean? Well, we saw another individual do this when the red team was up to bat under George W. Bush, when we had Ron Paul come out and tell it like it is. Is their ideologies different? Absolutely. It's 180 degrees different. But the truth is always the truth, right? It doesn't matter if it's a card-carrying communist who wants to turn this into the people's utopia, or if it's Ron Paul that doesn't want any government at all and states should run their own affairs, and more importantly, individuals should run their own affairs. It doesn't matter. If the truth comes out of either one of their mouths, it's still the truth. So, Bernie Sanders, home run tonight. As far as a potential candidate of the joke that this whole election process has turned into, by far and away the only one that understands what's going on with this country, the toilet bowl that it's going down, and what we need to do in order to change this. And he had the courage tonight to say it. We need a revolution. Now, he called it a political revolution, but make no mistake about it. If the vast majority of the people of this country woke up to what's happening in D.C., what's happening with the financial masters and our so-called elected representatives who are representing us, if the people understood and knew what was going on in our names, behind our backs, to our future, to our children, there absolutely would be political revolution, and probably a whole lot more. Say what you want, be on whatever side of the fence you want to be on, but understand something. Your ideology doesn't affect the truth. Your ideology doesn't allow you to bend the truth into something that it's not. We have two very slick parties in this country that want you to believe exactly that. That if you're standing on the blue side of the fence, you're right. And your right is the only God's gospel truth. And there's a slick party in this country that's on the red team that wants you to believe the exact opposite. The truth is the truth. You want to be worried about somebody grabbing your guns? Let the country keep going the way it is right now. Look, the only reason we're not Australia, the only reason that we're not England right now, or Canada, where it's virtually impossible to have more than 5 rounds in any firearm, and in some of these countries I mentioned, it's impossible to even own a firearm. It isn't because of the NRA, right? That's what the left, that's what the blue team wants us to believe. The NRA is the only reason why we have semi-automatic guns in this country. No, it's not. The NRA has a lobby, just like any other lobby in Washington, D.C. Trust me, the gun industry isn't a big, throbbing industry that has all this money in order to facilitate the rise of political geniuses in Washington, D.C. Let's face it, pharmaceuticals, the oil companies, big finance. There's a ton more money being thrown at Washington, D.C. than the NRA can throw at Washington, D.C. The reason we have guns in this country, we have the most friendly environment for gun owners on this planet, is because of this. It isn't because of the NRA. And if Bernie Sanders or anybody else that's claiming to be a gun grabber wants to go for him, we should encourage that. It is a confrontation, a legitimate confrontation of our Constitution. It's not usurping it slowly over generations like we've seen with Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, where we, the people, the Congress, can set money, coin money, and determine the value thereof. That little piece of the Constitution was taken away over hundreds of years. And look what has happened. Look at the result of it now. A world in calamity because we decided we were going to let go a little bit of the Constitution. This amendment, the Second Amendment, it's cut and dry. There's no slowly usurping it. You are going to build animosity between the red and the blue. You're going to build animosity between the neighbor, your neighbor in this country, until it comes to a head. So I would much rather hear the truth from somebody who I know doesn't like the fact that I have an AK-47 or an AR-15. But at least he's speaking the truth, and at least he's not going to hide behind some jargon that he says just because the camera's on. I'd rather face that battle when it comes face to face, not behind my back, not with 535 members of Congress, behind closed doors, in the heels of a crisis in order to usurp my liberty. I'll take that fight head on. Believe what you want about our political system. It is absolutely and totally controlled by special money interests, financial special interests. The only mediocre bright spot we see in any of this is Bernie Sanders' command of the truth. Believe it or not, it is what it is. Open your eyes. It's time to wake up. Stories are attached. I'll be back.